What's up, guys? Ken here from Pop Culture Junkies. I'm here to talk to you today about the right way to collect comics. Let's go. Let's talk about the right way to collect comics. I've been hearing a lot of questions about it. People ask a lot of things. Should I do this? Should I slab this? What should I do? Where should I get my book signed? Let's kind of go through some of these things. I've been seeing a lot of advice from people telling people how to collect comic books. And I think I just want to tell you guys the one right, true way to collect comics. First, to kind of get into this conversation, I'll show you one of my recent shipments from CGC with some books in it. And this all comes around. It's not just me trying to brag about books I got graded, trust me. So I got the shipment back of those 5 Daredevil books. Starts with 168, first appearance of Elektra. Goes into 170, not really a first anything, right? Vanessa Fisk first appearance, I guess. But really what this was, and it's a 6.5, this didn't even need to go in. These are just books that I like because I love Daredevil and I wanted them all to display the same as my other displayed books. Daredevil 179, just an iconic cover, right? An Elektra appearance, but really an iconic cover. There's the Marvel Zombies version of this. It's been done a couple times by different people. And then you have the other big one for the Elektra run, The Death of Elektra, right? Daredevil 181. 9.4, again, shout out to the guys over at I Want More Comics for getting this in and giving me a chance to buy it. And then we have Daredevil 190. This has a letter from Fabian Nicieza in it. I don't even know how you say his name, really, but that's really the most notable thing about this. I think it's part of the resurrection of Elektra. But really, this is a good example of books, right? This is an 8.5 that I sent in. I knew this wasn't going to come back a 9.8 or anything. Not surprised at what it got. Again, it was my books that I wanted to display. And really kind of gets to the heart of this. How should you collect comics, right? The real answer here is you should collect however you want. However you want to collect your comic books, that's how you should collect them. I've seen a lot of things recently with people trying to tell people where they should get signatures, if they should slab or not, and what's ruining the industry and comic book collecting. Really what's ruining the industry for everyone, guys, is telling everyone what they should do with their comic books. Who cares if they get a slab? It's not your book. Who cares where they get it signed? It's not your book. I think there's been some pretty interesting comments. We'll get to this Uncanny in just a minute here. There have been some pretty interesting comments out there, and I want to talk about a few of them with you. So first and foremost, this one came up in a Facebook group, right? FYI, the proper placement for signatures in the slab era is the back cover. And then you can see someone underneath that's not me that responded to him, but I totally agree with this sentiment here. But the truth is, A, there's no right place to get your book signed, but B, it is stupid to get it on the back cover. That is the dumbest place to have someone sign a comic book. The back cover is an ad that has nothing to do with the book, right? If I were to get this book signed by Frank Miller, why in the world would I ever want to get Frank Miller signing a Lego ad for a tractor? That's ridiculous. That is potentially the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I hate to call someone out on something, but it's just a stupid idea. This makes zero sense to get this signed. Oh look, I could have Frank Miller sign this Lone Ranger toy ad. Why would I do that? Versus, the actual art and characters that he was writing and drawing. Why would I not get him to sign that? I would get it on the back cover. So what? No one has to look at it? What's the point of getting the signature if you can't even see it? Ridiculous. I know back in the day, a lot of people used to get signatures on the inside cover of a book. And again, it actually goes back to my point. For you, whatever you want to do, get your book signed wherever you want. But telling people that they have to, the slab era is the right way to do it is this way. Nope, the right way to do it is however you really want to. I just happen to think that this idea that this person put forth is really fucking stupid. This is a pretty common back and forth. Companies like CGC are getting on my nerves. Encapsulation is great for the investment side of comics, but terrible for the industry's continuity as a whole. Let's just full stop for a minute. Anything that brings more people in and surges the community is probably good for the community. Anything that keeps the community dwindling and does not bring new people in, probably not good for the community. People getting into grading and investing and all these other things is great for the community. I get it. You got priced out of books that you wanted and you can't afford them anymore. That's really sad to see. Also, if you want the books, then you buy them and figure out a way. Or just come to terms with the fact that you're not going to be able to purchase them. I'm fine knowing I'm not going to buy a Hulk 181. I don't even want one anyways, but if I did, I would find a way. I would scrimp, I would save, I would take all these other books and sell them. There's multiple ways to get to the books you want. You just have to be prepared to sacrifice some things to get there. And if you don't want to do that, then you didn't want the book that bad to begin with. And if you can't afford the book, you shouldn't worry about what people are doing who can afford the book. I remember I got into a really interesting conversation with someone who said, you know, why would you buy, I wouldn't spend $30,000 on that Miles Morales limited edition cover. I'd spend it on Amazing Fantasy 15. And I said, if you have $30,000 just sitting around to drop on a Miles Morales comic, you've probably already purchased the Amazing Fantasy 15 that you wanted if you wanted it. It's not like it's out of reach for you. You can't, when people are playing with money at that level, you can't equate them to yourself. If they've got 30 grand to drop on something, they've got it to drop on anything and probably have already. No one just gets their first 30 grand and says, I have to buy a Miles Morales comic. They probably purchased multiple comics, probably some that cost more than 30 grand and some that cost less. But the point is, they can do whatever they want with their money. If they want to pay 30 grand for this 8.5 Daredevil 190, then they can. It's their money to do with what they want. That's not for you to worry about. So this idea of to continue here, no kid says, I love this comic so much, I want to encase it in plastic and never read it again. That's what most of us do with our comics, if you think about it. It's just a plastic bag. It's not a plastic case. But we take them, we read them, we bag and board them, and then they go in storage somewhere. A lot of collectors who are worried about the condition of their books are not pulling them out to read them again. And a lot of books, I can tell you for a fact, I don't even really care about reading them again. I don't care about reading all these Daredevil books again. And if I do, like someone said in a different comment, I'll just read them online. There are multiple avenues to read these books anytime I want to read them. If I really, really want to, I could buy a reader copy of these books also. Again, multiple ways for people to collect books however they want, and that's the right way they should be doing it. You don't have to tell them what to do with it. Let them do, they paid for it, they can do whatever they want with it. Stop with this idea that people need to collect it your way. They don't need to. They can do it however they want to do it. One of the last ones, this was from a local Facebook group for Colorado. How do you guys feel about people selling free comic book day comics? It's something that's always bothered me, so I just figured I would see if it was just me. I mean, it really probably is just you for the most part. I don't care what people do with their free comic book day comic. That comic wasn't free. There was a whole lot of people who paid the cost for that comic to get free to you. But there's people who paid a cost to produce that comic, to print that comic, to write that comic, to draw that comic. None of that happened for free. So this idea that all of a sudden when you sell a free comic book day comic that you're violating the spirit of it. Nope. The spirit is you go to the comic book store on free comic book day and you get free comics. And then you do whatever you want with them, just like any other comic book. You don't have to keep them. You don't have to give them away. It's not your job to go out there and spread the comic bug to everyone who will buy into it and make them collect comics with your free comic book day comics. That's not going to happen. The majority of free comic book day comics no one cares about anyways. The only thing that's really came up with is what? House of Slaughter. There's very, very rare instances of free comic book day comics being actually worth anything more than a few dollars at that. And most of the people buying that when they came out this year were buying it off of hype. You can probably find them for less than $1 if you just ask some of the local shops around you who have some left. Either way, once that comic is in someone's hand, that's their book, dude. Who cares what they do with it? Why do you care? What do you care what are they doing with that book that you were going to do? Nothing. what you need to realize is when someone else owns that book doesn't exist for you. That book is not in existence in your world. That book is in existence in their world, and they can do whatever they want with it. But for you, that comic just doesn't exist. We need to stop with this idea that just because we want something or like something that someone else has, just because we covet it, that we should have some say in what happens to it. Nope, they paid good money for that book. They can do whatever they want with it. I bought this X-Men. Oh, what is this? 142. This was like the 4th time I purchased this book. This was a definite reader copy, not near mint by any means. I bought it just to have it. It was kind of a deal when I got it. But the truth is, it doesn't, for you guys, this book isn't real. I can do whatever I want with this book. It is not real. I don't have to save it. This book doesn't exist. It's not real for you. It's real for me because I paid for it and I can do whatever I want with it. Now it's in 2 pieces of a book. I can take it, I can wipe with it. Whatever I want to do with this book, it's my book to do what I want with. And that's how you should collect your comic books. The right way to collect comics, however you want to collect your comic books. That's all I have for you guys. Just wanted to touch on the subject a little bit. Hope you enjoyed this content. Remember to hit the like, hit the subscribe.